Hey, church, how are we today? I want to ask everybody a question. Are we caught up in the rules? Are we get caught up in what we call the rules anyway for the church? You got to come in and you got to dress a certain way. You got to talk a certain way. You got to look a certain way. You can't be scruffy looking. You can't have tattoos on your neck. You can't have piercings in your eyebrows or your ears or right? You can't have different colored hair. You may not be able to have different color skin. And if you're wearing shorts and if you're wearing a hat in the sanctuary, holy cow, you're going to catch one in the ear hole, right? I mean, we get caught up in stuff like that, don't we? Years ago when I was a youth leader, I remember a lady saying to me, these kids, they're eating food in the church and they're getting crumbs everywhere. I'm like, yeah, but they're in the church, right? I mean, isn't that where we want them? We want them in the church. We want them being a part of everything. And I think that we get caught up in following the rules instead of going out and working and loving the people, right? Jesus was in the synagogue one Sabbath, and the Pharisees were watching him because they knew he was up to no good, right? They knew he was going to just do something that was going to make him crazy. And he knows they're watching him. And there was a guy with a hand that was all clawed up, right? And it was deformed and it was no good and he couldn't use it. And Jesus says to him, hey, come here, man. And he looks at him, he says, hey, is it okay to do evil or good on the Sabbath? And somebody said, the good, you can do the good. And Jesus looked at him and says, you're well, your hand is okay. And the guy lifted his hand up and his hand was made whole. He was healed. And the Pharisees were burned up. As a matter of fact, they went out and they started planning on how they could trap him and kill him. You see, organized religion sometimes does that, right? We get so caught up in what we call the rules that we don't love others. We don't worship and invite others to come in who are different from us to worship the God who loves us all, right? We want people who look like us, who behave like us, who act like us. And if they don't, well then, man, you should probably find somewhere else. And that's not the way Jesus was, right? Jesus went everywhere, hung out with everybody, healed everybody, and didn't always obey the rules of man. May God continue to pour out his grace, mercy, and blessings on each and every one of us until we get to meet again. Amen. Amen.